Welcome, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. Welcome to this session about MAXQDA Tailwind, a new AI-supported app for qualitative data analysis. My name is Tamara Pataki, and I lead the community relations team here at Verbi Software, the creator of MAXQDA. And it is my pleasure to introduce you today to today's speaker, Dr. Stefan Rediker. And I think a lot of you already know Stefan, but for those who don't, Stefan is a seasoned methodologist and an expert for qualitative and mixed methods research, and he has been working as a MAXQDA expert and trainer for many, many years, and he is also deeply involved in the development of MAXQDA and, of course, in MAXQDA Tailwind as well. So this is why we invited him today to give this presentation, because we think that he is the best source of information, and this is the best way for you to hear everything from the first hand. Just to let you know, this presentation is being recorded, so in case you want to watch it later or you would like to rewatch it, you will have the option to do so, and we will share this recording with you. The talk will last for about 45 minutes, and at the end you will have the option to pose questions. During the presentation, please write any questions that you might have in the Q&A section. You can find this option on the bottom of your screen. Before we get started, I would just like to tell you a bit more about MAXQDA Tailwind and why we decided to create this. And we are really excited to present this new and also a bit unusual endeavor that we went for here, because instead of working within the traditional desktop environment of MAXQDA, this time we decided to launch a web-based application. The idea behind this new app was to harness the benefits that large language models do the best at the moment, and everything in one place, in one tool. So we took what we learned from developing the AI Assist module, that is something that was within MAXQDA, and we created MAXQDA Tailwind that allows you a very simple but also fully AI-supported workflow in a web-based environment. This tool is a work in progress, and it's currently in its beta phase. And today is a special occasion because this is our very first time that we are introducing MAXQDA Tailwind live. So you are among the first to see it. And with that, it's time to take a closer look, and I hand it over to you, Stefan.
Thank you so much, Tamara, for this introduction. And I'm very happy to be here. And my best regards to all of you watching this all over the world. So MAXQDA Tailwind is an app that allows us to analyze qualitative data with AI-supported summarization and topic identification. And already let's dive deeper here. And so it's a web application, as Tamara already mentioned, and it utilizes generative text AI in form of large language models, and it allows us to perform different analytical tasks here, different analytical approaches here. We can summarize documents using Tailwind. We can identify, define, and summarize topics within those documents. And we can create documents by topic tables, allowing us for case comparison. And very soon it will also include a conversational analysis, which allows us to chat with our documents there. So what I will do in my webinar here is that I will give you a live demonstration on how the workflow is in MAXQDA Tailwind, and I will use some sample data for this. I have here decided to go with 7 inaugural addresses by US American presidents when they start their term, their presidential term. They usually give an starting speech, which is called inaugural addresses. And here I collected 7 of those speeches, starting in 2001 from George W. Bush to 2025 Donald Trump. And this gives us an impression what Tailwind can find out about those inaugural speeches in this temporal phase of 20 years that is covered by those inaugural addresses. So let's get started here in MAXQDA Tailwind, and I go to this page here, tailwind.maxqda.com, and this brings me to the login page to MAXQDA Tailwind, and after entering my credentials of my MAXQDA account, I will be directly here forwarded to the projects page. The projects page in MAXQDA Tailwind presents all the projects that I've already created here. So here I have 3 of them as examples: evaluation of statistics scores, work-life balance, and I already provided some here inaugural addresses of US presidents beforehand. And today I will start with creating a new project, which will be added to this existing list of projects. When I create a new project, first I have to give it a name, and here I select a very simple one. I call it inaugural addresses. It is mainly that I can easily identify it here in my project list, but it is also relevant what I include here in my project name and in my project description, because some of the features of MAXQDA Tailwind are steered by this project description and the project name. So it's a good idea to include information about the data that I'm analyzing in my project in my description. So here, of course, I would write these are inaugural addresses. But here I would also add more details like of US presidents. And this is actually the minimum of information I would include here in this project. It is usually a better idea to give some more context here. So here what I include is also from 2021 to 2025, 21 to 2025. And I could also name the persons here already. It is George W. Bush, 2001 and 2025. And like this, I could continue. I've already prepared this here, so I can copy and paste it here from my clipboard. And here it includes Barack Obama in 2009 and 13, Donald Trump in 2017 and 2025, and Joe Biden in 2021. And then there is another important step here where I define in what language I want Tailwind to produce the AI-generated content. So if I open this selection box here, you can see that there are several languages available. And please note that they can differ from the input. And the input data that I will be analyzing can be even in mixed languages. I can work with German and Spanish text, and MAXQDA Tailwind will output the AI-generated content in English, for example. So this is what I include here as a beginning, and I say create here. And you can see that this project has now been added as the top here. The description is displayed here, and you see that here's also a pencil, and when I click on it, I can adjust my description and my project name here whenever I need to do this. So after creating a project, I can enter a project by clicking on its name, and then I'm redirected here to this data page. And you can see that as soon as I've entered a project, several new items here, menu items at the left, are presented, allowing me to access the features for analyzing my data. But before analyzing it, I need to upload the data. And this works on this data page. I can click on import here, and you can see that here I can now select those 7 work files that I've prepared beforehand, and I can import them. Please note that for today you can import Word files, docx, RTF files, which are sometimes produced by automatic transcription tools, or even plain text files in TXT files, in TXT format. And each file can have up to 20 megabytes, and each file can consist of up to 120,000 characters. I think there was already a question in the chat or in the Q&A section if it is limited to 20 currently. And yes, during beta phase, it is limited to 20 documents at a maximum to be imported. So here I upload those files, and now MAXQDA Tailwind already starts the analysis of these files, and in concrete, this means that these documents are now summarized. The text content of it is extracted, and the Tailwind identifies the important parts of the documents, and after the import, they are listed here in my data section in my data table here. So they are listed from 2001 to 2025. And I can sort them here, but the most important thing is that I can click on any of those to open the view and already start analyzing. Because when opening a document that has been imported into a Tailwind project, we have here a split view with an AI summary at the top and the imported document at the bottom. So this is the summary that has been created during the import. And here, for example, it says that President Bush's inaugural address emphasizes the inextricable link between American liberty and global freedom. And we also have, this is very important, we have references to the paragraphs where this information can be found in the original document. So these references allow us to investigate what has been summarized in the summary. And they allow us to check these summaries for accuracy. So if I click on them, you will see that paragraphs 4 to 7 are now highlighted and are scrolled at. So I can investigate and I can analyze what has been summarized here. Please have a look at those references, because then you will see that those are usually consecutive, because the summaries are providing a chronological summary of the document, sometimes comprising several paragraphs into one or two, into one reference, like here or like here. I can simply click on the next document here and the view will stay open. And here we can see that, for example, we have several paragraphs summarized into a sentence, or here we have several paragraphs too. And here we have, all of them have a chronological order. But when I continue looking at them, I'm pretty sure that we will find one of those documents where the chronological order is sometimes a little bit changed. So, for example, here we see that not all of those references are in chronological order, because although the summary tries to be chronological, sometimes it's important to group some information that is scattered throughout the document, as we can see here, for example, for the inaugural address of Obama in 2013, where the AI summary states that the address highlights the need for collective action to address contemporary challenges such as economic recovery, education reform, and climate change. And evidence for this summarized sentence or summary sentence is given in these two parts of the document. So please know that I can also collapse the summary here, which gives me a larger view of the document and which allows me to focus on the original data here. And MAXQDA Tailwind will remember this setting. So when I click on the next document, it will keep this summary closed. And there is another icon here to the right, which allows me to copy my AI summary to the clipboard. And now I can paste it here to my analysis report. And the references are kept in the summaries that have been created here. So even or only importing my data into Tailwind produces those insightful summaries, allowing me to familiarize myself with my data and, for example, decide on what data to start with further investigating and so on. So this is mainly the data import part and the data summary part. Please also have a look at the names that I've chosen here, because it is important that you choose concise and short and consistent and precise names for your documents. Especially, you need to name and label those before importing them currently. So the idea is that you should use a very short name here from my experience, because those names are referenced throughout lots of Tailwind features later on, and it's much easier to reference them and work with them if they are shorter. Of course, you can use longer names. It's not a big deal here. It's not a real problem, but The most important thing is that they are unique and that they are self-explicable for your analysis. So when you look on the left side, you can see that we have also here the topics section, and this is the second way or option where we can handle and work with our data. So we can go here to the topics section, and here we can create and manage up to 20 topics, which means that we can use an automatic topic identification in my documents, or I can manually add a topic. I will start with automatically topic creation, and when I click on Find Topics, MAXQDA Tailwind analyzes the documents and identifies topics that are addressed in all documents, that are addressed in only some documents, and there may also be topics presented here that are addressed in only a few or only one document. So these topic suggestions are always split into two parts, a topic title and a topic description. I will talk about the details of those topic descriptions later, but first of all, let's have a look at the different topics that have been found in these imported inaugural addresses. First of all, we have domestic policy agendas, we have foreign policy approaches, we have national unity and division, we have American ideals and values, we have role of government and governance, economic policy approaches, social justice initiatives, and this is also a very interesting rhetorical strategies and tone. So this last topic is kind of a meta topic here. It's not what they are talking about, but how they are doing it. So here the Tailwind also identifies a common topic that is used here in the texts, which is more analytical and which is valuable to investigate further. So what I will do now is I will select two or three topics. Let's take here rhetorical strategies, and maybe here we have American ideals and values, for example. You can see that here the counter is increasing because now when I click on Add Topics, we will have two topics in the project and add a maximum of 20 topics. Actually, I think you usually won't need 20 topics, so this is a very large way to go here. So the topics have been now created. So you can find the topic title here, and you will find the description here. And MAXQDA now checks every document that I've imported for American ideals and values, and it checks it also for rhetorical strategies and tone, and then provides a topic summary, synthesizing, compiling all those summaries per document into an overall summary, how these topics are addressed and how they are similar and how they are different in the different documents that I've imported. So for example, when we look at American ideals and values, we find this information that the inaugural addresses analyzed present diverse interpretations of core American ideals and values, reflecting the unique context and priorities of each presidency. While all speeches invoke concepts like liberty, equality, justice, and opportunity, their emphasis and application vary considerably. So the large language model here was able to identify common parts of American ideals and values in all the documents, and also handling of or promoting American ideals and values in specific data. For example, here we see that in Bush's documents, in Bush's addresses, he emphasizes the global promotion of freedom, viewing American liberty as a force capable of combating tyranny worldwide. and a seed upon the wind, spreading democracy internationally. So you can see that even here we have some quotations from the original. And here, for example, we have those from Obama, and here we have a focus on Trump compared with Biden. And sometimes at the end, we also have an overall, but here it is mainly on this 2025 address by Trump. So if we look at the rhetorical strategies and tone, you will see that we have also here a distinction, not also, but we have a distinction between pathos, ethos, logos, typical parts of analyzing rhetorical strategies. And an overall tone and rhetorical strategy is also here addressed. For example, here we can see that most of those addresses use an inclusive language, we and us, except for Trump here, whose inaugural addresses in 2017 and 2025 stand out by incorporating decisive rhetoric alongside unifying appeals, creating an us versus them narrative, which is very interesting here. So already those topic summaries provide very deep and interesting information and results about the data we are analyzing. And some information that is important for you when you reuse these find topics, then we will probably find the same or very similar topics every time, but there may be one more or two more, or there may be one topic less identified, and the wordings may be different here. The idea is that I can use this feature several times, and the idea is that it gives also room for capturing the variability in all the data, which is not covered by a single function which lists topics here. It's like asking 5 persons sitting in a room and analyzing the data and asking them to find topics in the data, and they will come up with different solutions, and we can take the best out of it. So please note that also these topics are not fixed here. We can change them every time. So for example, I would say I don't want to focus on American ideals and values, but I only want to focus on American ideals. So I could change here the title, and then I can change the description, which has been automatically created. And usually so here I would include this topic, examine the articulation and preserve of core American values. So here I would, for example, include ideals. And to make it short, I simply drop the rest of it to show you that it also works with a shorter description. And now I have applied this shorter description here, and I've applied this title. But the topic summary is currently still reflecting the former state of this topic with the old title and the old description. And you can see that this topic summary is not on reflecting the current state, because here this icon has turned to blue. So here you can see it is in black. Here it has turned to blue because either the data has changed, you have deleted a document from your project, you have added a document to your project, or you have changed the title or the description of the topic. And I can click on this refresh icon now, and now it will reflect and think about, and not think about, it will analyze all the documents again here. Now only we are having a little bit broader view here on ideals, and we will receive a different summary here. So here this has been, you can see the text has now been changed, and now this refresh icon has turned to black again because it reflects the current state. Now some notes on these topic descriptions that are created automatically by MAXQDA Tailwind. If you look at the first sentence and if you compare them with different topics that are created automatically, you will see that the first sentence is a general explanation, a description of this topic. In this case, it says that this topic examines the rhetorical strategies and overall tone employed by each president in their inaugural address. Then we have a second sentence that narrows this a little bit more down. It says it analyzes the language used, the appeals made to the audience, and the overall mood or message conveyed. And the last sentence contains an information about examples that are relevant for this topic. So it lists use of pathos, ethos, logos, and the overall tone here for this example. And I could change this, I could extend this, I could narrow it even more down, I could make it more specific, less specific, remove examples completely, and play around with different ways of describing it. But as I've mentioned, the initial description created automatically by MAXQDA Tailwind will usually follow the explained three-sentence structure. Please note that I can click on this refresh topic summary even if I haven't updated the rhetorical strategies and tone title or the description, because of the built-in variability here in MAXQDA Tailwind. It's a small variability. It's not that large. For those who are interested in large language model, it's the temperature set here to 0.1, so it's a very low temperature, allowing us to keep very strict to the data analyzed, but giving us some variability, kind of reflecting the nature of the work we're doing here. And this is now, should be a slightly different one. I haven't checked it in detail now, but it should be a little bit different here. And now it contains, has been updated. Please note that we can also add topics manually here. So, for example, we could have something that is on environmental issues, which is another topic. We could also include something which would be called a topic here in terms of the interface of MAXQDA Tailwind, what would be more a formal part of the data. For example, we could also look for language. We could ask for language-related information news or for interaction in a conversation, or we could even ask here for arguments. And this would be called, the topic name may be then arguments, but it's then not a real topic anymore, but it will work and it will be interesting to analyze it. You can see it already here for the rhetorical strategies and tone, which is not a topic from the beginning, but which is very interesting here to analyze. Please note that it is not called theme on purpose here, because themes are usually something that from at least from my perspective and methodological understandings are created in a later phase of analysis. It is more an outcome than a starting point here, and this is more so we think that topic is here the more accurate way to frame it. So for environmental issues, we could look for this topic here. We could add a description, so something like all mentions of environment-related issues. And this is, of course, a very short description, and usually I would recommend to make it a little bit longer, but I want you to show what happens here. And because I know that in some of these documents, environmental issues are not addressed at all. And this is a good explanation for later on. And the AI here in the background recognizes this. So in the first sentence, it says a significant portion of the provided documents, Bush, Trump, lack any mention of environmental issues. However, 3 documents do address the topic. It is Obama and it is the Biden one. And this is an interesting outcome, and we will come back to this later in the summary tables section. But there is more to explore here on this page, because we have this copy to clipboard here, which allows us to export a single topic summary and then include it in our analysis report here by simply pasting it here. You can see that here also the references are included in our export. And and here, for example, we can open those documents directly by clicking on these references in the text. And we can export the whole table as an Excel table, which is very valuable for continue working with it, for archiving your results here. And it is a table that consists of a column with a topic name, one with a topic description, and one with the topic summary, including the references to the documents. I think especially the references here, the exporting, all of those features help us to be sure that the AI does not hallucinate, does not provide incorrect information here, which from my perspective and from my experiences using Tailwind did not happen yet for my cases at all. But of course, it helps to go into details and to check it using the references. So let's also have a look at the last part here of the features that is currently available. It's the summary table section. And this is the idea of creating a table, documents, data by topics. Maybe you have already known the summary tables and you're familiar to the summary tables in MAXQDA, and they are very similar to those that we can create here in Tailwind. With a big difference, they are created automatically. So here I can select the rows. I select all the 7 files I have imported, and here I can select the topics that I have created, and I will select all 3 of them. And MAXQDA Tailwind will now show me a table with 21 cells, 7 by 3 columns, and informing us for every person, which forms the rows, how they address in their inaugural speeches these topics: environmental issues, American ideals, and rhetorical strategies and tone. And here you can already see that whenever no information is found by MAXQDA Tailwind in a document on a specific topic, it outputs this as something, a similar sentence like this or like this. And actually, for analyzing these inaugural addresses, having the information that there is no information about a topic in one of these addresses is already an interesting result. And we can see this here, that it is here and here. That here, for example, even for Trump in 2025, there is nothing presented regarding environmental issues in detail. He's talking about energy, but is not regarding concerning about the environment. But yeah, in 2009, we have some parts, some let's call them hits for environmental issues. And if I click on these numbers, for example, the number 19, the relevant paragraph in my original data is highlighted and is displayed here. So even this table can be searched. So for example, I can search for freedom, and now only those documents that address freedom, it's apparently all of them, are listed, but those columns that don't have freedom in it are removed and are filtered out. And we can export the current view to Excel, we can export the whole view, the whole table to Excel, depending on if we have a search running or not. I really love this search feature, especially because it is filtering the columns and the rows here so well. By the way, it's already an information sometimes how many or how long the summaries, how many text has been written in a cell. So you can see this by the looking at these scroll bars, because the smaller they are, the longer the text is, right? Except for those where no scroll bar is displayed. Here, of course, the text is even shorter. I think this is, I know, I have one point to make. So the question is, how do the summary tables and the topic here presented here relate to the topic summaries? And if I go back here and I look at this topic summary, environmental issues, this topic summary, American ideals, and this topic summary for rhetorical strategies and tone, these are created by MAXQDA by summarizing a complete column here. So you could think of it as another row here at the bottom, containing all the overall summaries for a topic, looking into all the documents. So this is the relation between the summary table cells and the columns and the topic summaries here. Okay, you please note that you can change the summary table name here. So for example, I could call it summary table 1 to have a better overview later on. So it is now changed. And if I go back to my summary tables, now I have this list here of my tables and I can access them anytime later, or I can delete them here anytime. Let's go back to the presentation here and let me reflect a little bit on what I've showed you here live in MAXQDA Tailwind. First of all, I think MAXQDA Tailwind can be used for a lot of different data types. We could use it for primary data like interviews, like observations, memos, but we could also use them for secondary materials like literature or reports, news and maybe policy documents, and legal and historical documents too. We could use them, of course, for public communication, as I did here for speeches. You could use them for social media contents combined into a document, for example, the comments onto a YouTube video or different YouTube videos or something, or the comment on a newspaper article. All these may be interesting and be analyzed easily in MAXQDA Tailwind by compiling them into different documents. I think the analytical task that you can perform with Tailwind can comprise it, first of all, the initial data analysis. You can use it for exploring your data, for example, by summarizing each document and using the summaries to get familiar with your data and then go deeper and deeper into your original cases. And you can use it by looking for the find topics and even starting refining your topics there by an interplay, going back and forth with creating a summary table, going back, adjusting the topic description, going again into the summary table and so on. This will help you establish analytical dimensions for a more thorough analysis of your data. I think it supports a lot the comparative analysis. It allows you to compare cases by topics, or the other way around, topics by cases, which means how the topics vary across the different cases. And they also help us to identify topic overlaps, because the topics that have been identified there will usually not have hard demarcation lines, but there may be some overlapping sometimes between, for example, economy and social topics in the inaugural addresses. And it will help us to identify those overlaps and where we could better merge topics or better separate them. It also helps us in terms of pattern recognition, because it may support us in analyzing temporal evolution of topics, as we could see here in my example. But we could also create topics that reflect sentiments, that reflect language patterns, that help us to identify if there is a topic existent at all. So looking into the summary table and looking at the empty cells may also be helpful. And we can use those summary tables especially for identify types of cases and develop a typology. We can group similar cases which deal with different topics similar into different groups of cases, and we could relate and correlate topics with each other, and we could even build relational models in terms of concept maps here based on the summary tables. I think this will work too. So when discussing the options of MAXQDA Tailwind with others, we were a lot of discussing about the integration point in the analysis process. And I think you can use MAXQDA Tailwind for data exploration and then also for main analysis and then even for reporting by exporting the information from Tailwind and using it for your report. Actually, it really depends on several factors how you would integrate it into your analysis. For example, sometimes you may only start with your data exploration in MAXQDA Tailwind and then continue in MAXQDA for a more thorough and deeper analysis of, for example, argumentic structures, or for a more latent analysis, more interpretative analysis. I think these are the main factors that influence the way to go with the integration here. So the need of analysis depth, the type of analysis, and actually the type of analysis, the methodological approach, and the research questions are connected. If you are doing a thematic analysis, or a content analysis, which focuses on identifying topics and then themes, I think you could do a lot of the main work with Tailwind. But if you're more on this interpretative approach, you may continue in MAXQDA. It also timeline constraints are interesting here. I'm usually not a big fan of promoting that AI is doing much work in a short time, but I have to admit here that compared to an analysis we have done 20 years ago for 10 interviews for an evaluation project which we have published, and now using the same data here in Tailwind, we can see that we used 100 hours to analyze it 20 years ago, and with Tailwind it would take 10 hours actually, and which is also very interesting is that the results are even better than our manual analysis results than 20 years ago sometimes, because the references inside the topic summaries are so connected to the original data and are so on the point that it is really hard to do it by hand, actually, I have to admit. But doing this not only saves some time, but what I want to point out here is that it gives us more time for more detailed analysis and to look into more things that we wouldn't have time for if we did it by hand. I think this way may be a good argument here. And then some may ask, what is about data privacy and data security? So with all MAXQDA products, it works like this. Whenever you start an AI-related request, no matter if it is from AI Assist, from transcription job, or here from MAXQDA Tailwind, creating a summary, the request is sent to the server, MAXQDA server here, cloud server hosted in AWS. And then it is sent to the large language model and processed here and sent back to the MAXQDA product. And the important thing is that the LLM here never stores any of those LLM requests. It never uses anything for AI training. The complete communication is encrypted, so overall the complete process is compliant with GDPR, which is a general data privacy regulations in Europe. So what's next in Tailwind? Actually, from tomorrow on, you will be able to import PDFs. So tomorrow, for those watching the recording later, this is starting the 6th of March. And very soon, there will be the option to chat with and about your documents. So this is what you can see here. This is already a glimpse of how it will look like. And the MAXQDA team also asked me to invite you to share all your small and all your big wishes here to what you want to see in MAXQDA Tailwind, because the roadmap is not written in stone. and it will incorporate all your wishes, and you can share your feedback easily here. And this brings us to the last question of my presentation: how you can access Tailwind. You need a MAXQDA 24 license. You need to ensure that you have unlocked AI Assist for your license. And as soon as if you've done this, you have complete access without a time limit through the beta when you're having AI Assist Premium. And if you're having AI Assist Free, you can test it for 7 days. And there is also a link in my presentation that is here provided to you in the chat. And there you will find more information on it.